When I met Ed, I was living in St. Louis. And I would say I was just living a carefree, single life. I worked at an advertising agency.
When I met Fran, I was working at McGraw-Hill in the book division, and the job required a lot of traveling out of the St. Louis area.
Well, I met Ed probably around 1964.
We met through a friend of ours, a friend of mine that I went to college with and lived across the street from me, and Ralph Webmaner.
Well, I met Ed through a couple of copywriters at the ad agency, a husband and wife and they were friends with Ed.
And we were at Ralph's apartment one evening, and Ralph said, I know the person I want you to meet. You've got to go out with this person.
And so they thought that we two should get together. So they asked me if it'd be okay if he called, so I said yeah.
So he called up Fran, and so I talked to her and made a date with her. I went over to pick her up, and I knocked on the door, and the apartment door I knocked on was empty. There wasn't anybody in it.
I moved, but nobody told it.
So I thought, well, this is very clever for a blind date. I mean, this is a real blind date.
But finally, he figured out. He called me, and I said, oh, I don't live there anymore.
So I finally got to pick her up. We went out, and I really didn't know where to go, so there was a Holiday Inn. So we went into Holiday Inn, and they had a cocktail lounge. Well, at that first date, we were sitting there, and I felt something going down my leg, and I didn't know what to say or do or act. And what had happened, a bracelet had fallen off of her wrist and slid down my leg.
Most bracelets don't fit, and so it just, without my knowing it, it just slithered right off.
That's what they all say.
I was not interested in getting married.
I think I knew I wanted to marry Fran after we'd gone together. It was about 2 years, or a little longer.
But over time, I just felt that this was a good person.
No, I didn't. There wasn't any formal proposal.
I got a call from him, and he said, I may be moving to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I want you to come with me. Well, I don't know. But then the more I thought about it, I thought I would miss him terribly. But that was a proposal of sorts. But then he never went to Ann Arbor. We stayed in St. Louis.
I was with McGraw-Hill Book Company at the time, and they thought that maybe they were going to send me to Ann Arbor, Michigan.
And I guess this was the proposal. I want you.
I'm going to Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's a new one. I mean, if she has the sliding bracelet, I should have a unique way of saying, will you marry me? This has been a happy 50 years. And and we've had some sad times, and we've had a lot of happy times. And probably the first happy time was the wedding, which went off very well. And her dad, Earl, arranged for the reception, and the whole day was very good. So we started off with a good day. Describe the hat you wore.
Oh, it was just a little pillbox.
We walked to Miami, Florida. It took 3 months.
Oh, and we flew to Miami Beach remember how we talked about, should we spend the money on buying some furniture or take a honeymoon? And I said, take a honeymoon. But Ed always, he's a horticulturist. You know, he has flowers and plants, and he was gone.
I had gone on a trip, and this was after we were married. We were living in townhouse.
And there was these flowers on the patio.
And I was growing 2 tomatoes back on the patio, 2 tomato plants back on the patio. And while I was gone, Fran watered them.
And a jug of what I thought was water. So I watered them.
Except that she watered them with kerosene instead of water. And when I got home, they were green and slimy.
That plant was dead. I think we both agreed that probably the best trip, family-wise, was that trip to California.
Yeah.
On that trip, we also went to Tijuana, Mexico.
We went to Disney World, and we visited my sister June, who lived there at the time.
We visited Ed's sister in San Diego, California. We sat around the pool in December. Remember that? And we had the snakes, which Ed's sister, one of her children, liked snakes, so she collected them. And the little snake,
Blue
Charlie.
snake, a blue racer. That was in the dresser drawer. Our dresser drawer.
I had to check under the bed and check my shoes and the drawers every night before I got in bed. Donna was my best friend.
Yeah, we were neighbors for 20 years. Donna came over and got me one day, and she had a duck problem in their swimming pool.
Oh, yeah.
And what happened is that mother duck had, I don't know how she got the 3 babies in the pool, but she couldn't get them out. So I had to go over and help Donna fish the babies out of the swimming pool.
I remember Donna's neighbor one time, it was 96 degrees. And Donna and I, Vicki, I guess, and Jennifer were sitting out there.
On the cement.
Lee Jones, the neighbor, said, "You girls are insane." We said, "Hi, Lee." We had a great community of neighbors. It takes a lot of years for you to feel that close.
It also takes children.
And children that we had in common. I just remember those days as probably the best days of our lives, really. That was one of the highlights of my life, was being able to do plays with my family.
Through the years, we've always had the theater
Yes.
that both you and Vicki were in. That was always very enjoyable.
I was very glad that he enjoyed going to the theater, because that was my favorite activity. And then Ed got the acting bug, so even he auditioned and got some parts. That was fun. That was one of the highlights of my life too, is being able to do plays together. Oh, wow. Well, you have to be careful giving advice. Each person is different, but you've probably heard them all. You've probably heard all the cliches, and they're all pretty much true. Communication, very, very important. Keep talking to each other about yourself, what you like, what you don't like. You should be negotiating. I don't like it when you do that, or when you say that hurts me. And always keep that going, keep it open. To me, I really believe in God, because I have faith in Him. I have less worry, about things.
Honesty, for one, and sincerity, and making light of things that may not be light. start every day with a smile, if at all possible. Humor is very important.
Yes.
And even with strangers, I always, if I'm checking out the grocery store, I always try to say something that'll bring a smile to the other person's face. If I can make the other person smile, I've done something worthwhile for that minute.
The whole point is to really help your spouse to grow. You know, not just you, and he should be helping you. Like, okay, we do something that I kind of like. We have a card. It says, I love you. And, oh no, we're telling. But we put that, like, he'll put the card somewhere in some of my stuff. And I may not find it for 2 months. And then I'll pick up a blouse, and there in the blouse pocket is this card. It says, I love you. So that's kind of a romantic thing. I can count on him. He's got my back always. To me, that's really important. I really can count on him.
And Fran did the same for me. Whenever I was in need, she was always there.
All in all, it's been a pretty good 50 years.
50 years, I like to think of it as 18,262 days of good meals, a supporting wife, and a wonderful daughter.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And to count up to that, I had to take my shoes off.
That's a good way to look at it. Yes.